55, Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us as we embark on another week. A week that'll have Jaguar minicamp. They were on the field today. I was down there at the Miller Electric Center, had the opportunity to catch up with Jaguar linebacker Ventrell Miller. We will hear that conversation coming up in less than 15 minutes. Of course, the former Florida Gator entering year 2, although, of course, Ventrell got hurt in the preseason last year. So I'm going to talk to him about the rehab process from that Achilles injury, how much work it took to get back to this spot. And I will tell you something. Ask anybody that's been out there to these OTAs and today at minicamp. One of the guys on defense that's flashing, and that's all you look for at this point. There's no pads, right? There's no real thumping. There's just, you look for signs. You look for flashes. Ventrell Miller is flashing out there. In fact, he made another couple of plays today. And Ventrell Miller will join me coming up here in less than 15 minutes as we talk Jaguar minicamp, the final week of the offseason for the Jaguars. Now only 63 guys are participating. The other 27 are veterans that have been given the week off. Your Cam Robinsons, your Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne's, Evan Ingram's, etc. Guys that had participation throughout OTAs have been given this week off. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday are for the rookies, the second-year guys, the guys coming back from injury, and the newly acquired free agents, at least most of them are the ones that are in attendance. Ventrell Miller was there. I'll talk with him in less than 15 minutes. Also, Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com will stop by and join us coming up in about a half an hour or so. So a lot of Jaguars tonight, but there was a lot of stuff in the sports world this weekend, including two things. One that amazed me, the other that completely and totally flabbergasts me. And we will get to those in just a moment. We're glad you're with us on a Monday, Hacker After Dark. Every night here on HAD, we give you a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, minicamp for the Jacksonville Jaguars. My word the entire offseason has been competition. And, man, there is a lot of competition going on right now. The 27 guys that are not here for this veteran minicamp are all going to be part of the 53-man roster. Those 27 guys that have been given the week off are all going to be on the roster. The 63 guys that are here are battling for those other 26 spots. So we saw a lot of competition today. We will see more tomorrow, and we will see some on Wednesday as they wrap things up. But again, I've said this for a while, and I cannot wait for training camp at the end of the month to see how some of these position battles work themselves out. I do not believe necessarily that there are a lot of starting jobs on the line. Maybe one or two, but I think by and large you pretty much know who your 22 starters are. That is not the case for depth. That is not the case for positions 23 through 53. I think there are a lot of questions. How many wide receivers do you keep? Which wide receivers do you keep at the end of the roster? How many linebackers do you keep? Which of them do you keep at the end of the roster? Same thing in the interior defensive line. Same thing along the offensive line. Same thing at tight end. There are going to be names that you, the Jaguar fan base, knows that will not make the 53-man roster because it's a numbers game this year. To me, there is far, far more competition now than what we had 12 months ago. What we had 12 months ago was a pretty good understanding going into camp of who was going to make the team, because it was essentially the same guys you had from 2022. You just added that rookie draft class. That's not the case this year. I think probably 35 to 40% of the roster will be turned over. I think of the 53, you're probably looking anywhere from 15 to 20 new guys that were not here a year ago. And there are going to be some heated positions, some heated battles to make the tail end of this roster. Again, offensive line's a prime example. How many do you keep? Do you keep 9? All right, well, you got your 5 starters, right? Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse. Throw Brandon Sheriff and Anton Harrison in there. So that's 5. Walker Little? Yeah. Luke Fortner? I would imagine so. Javon Foster, the rookie from Missouri, that's 8. I haven't even mentioned Tyler Shatley. I haven't even mentioned Cooper Hodges. I haven't even mentioned Cole Van Lanen or Blake Hance, Cam Brewer, Darrell Williams, all guys that at one point last year were on the 53-man roster. 2 or 3 of those guys are going to get cut. You know, you look at wide receiver, I think 5 guys are locks. Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, Devin Duvernay, Parker Washington. Do you keep 6? That's the thought. All right, well then you got Tim Jones, who's been here for a couple of years. Elijah Cooks, who made the roster last year. Seth Williams, who was on the practice squad last year. Joshua Cephas, the undrafted free agent everybody loves. And I got to tell you, there's another guy that I'm hearing more and more good things about, and that's Brevin Easton at wide receiver. All of those guys simply cannot be here with the numbers. You're going to have to cut 3 of those guys. And that's pretty much how it is across the board. So a lot of competition for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's good. It's good competition. It sucks to cut guys, but it's a good situation when you have to choose between 2 good players. And they're going to push each other at all these positions to ultimately make that final 53-man roster. So Ventrell Miller, linebacker for the Jaguars, comes up in less than 10 minutes. I mentioned at the top, one thing amazed me, the other thing flabbergasted me over the weekend. I'll go with the amaze first. I am by no means a college baseball diehard. I know enough about it, and what I don't know, I bring guests on to talk about it. When it comes to yesterday's Florida-Clemson game, the Super Regional, 5 hours and 13 innings, that was one of the most enjoyable baseball games I've ever watched, ever. I would put that up there with a lot of big league games, big league World Series games. Now, again, I'm not a diehard baseball fan. I'm in it for the theatrics. I'm in it for the reality TV aspect of it. And you got everything yesterday with Florida-Clemson. First, you had an altercation where there was an ejection in the second inning. Jack Caglione going deep and being the starting pitcher. You had a 3-run homer to tie the game in the top of the 9th. You had maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life from that Clemson center fielder who was the same guy who went 3-run home run to tie the game in the 9th. After that, Brandon Neely of Florida, who gave up the 3-run bomb, composed himself to keep the Gators in it for 2 additional innings. And then Florida goes down by a run in the 13th. The Clemson batter throws the bat in celebration and gets his manager and assistant manager ejected in the process, which was wild. And then Florida comes up in the bottom of the 13th and wins the game with a 2-run walk-off double. It was amazing. Again, if you want to call me a bandwagoner, if you want to call me new to the party, whatever, you're right. You're right. And I will gladly say, yep, what you're saying is not inaccurate. But I'm a sports fan. And yesterday, watching that game, I had former NFL players. I had Dave Campo, a former NFL head coach, that were all texting me as that game ended going, holy cow, that's one of the greatest baseball games I've ever seen. It was phenomenal. Florida advances to Omaha. Unbelievable job by Kevin O'Sullivan. Unbelievable. From 28 and 27, only the fourth team this century to have 27 losses and make the NCAA tournament. Think about that for a second. They had to take 2 out of 3 from Georgia, final series of the regular season, just to get in the NCAA tournament. They're a 3 seed. They go to Stillwater. They lose a game to Oklahoma State. They're in the losers bracket. So they know they got to win 3 games in about 30 hours. They got to beat the Big Ten tourney champions, Nebraska. They did. And they got to beat Oklahoma State twice in Stillwater. And they did. Their reward is going to Clemson, who's ranked number 6 in the country. And they go there, win game 1 after trailing, 4-1 in that ball game. And then yesterday, back and forth, they give up that 3-run tying home run in the 9th. Clemson is elated at home. Clemson takes the lead in the 13th. And then Florida comes back to win it in the bottom half. Oh, absolutely incredible. Incredible. So Florida moves on. Hey, Florida State says, what about us? We're there too. Congratulations to Link Jarrett. It didn't take long, did it? Replacing the legend in Mike Martin and Mike Martin Jr. Link Jarrett gets Florida State back to the promised land, back to Omaha in 2 years. Florida State has had very little trouble in this NCAA tournament. They get Tennessee in Omaha to start. That'll be interesting. Tennessee's been number 1 basically the entire year. Like we said, Florida gets A&M on Saturday. We'll see if Georgia makes it as well. But regardless of what happens tonight, Georgia or NC State, you are assured to have SEC or ACC as all 8 of your reps in Omaha. Think about that for a second. 300 NCAA Division I teams. 31 different conferences. And the 8 finalists, the 8 that make it to Omaha, are all going to be either from the Atlantic Coast Conference or the Southeastern Conference, which includes Florida and Florida State. So that was the amaze part. The flabbergasted part. I could not believe this when I saw it over the weekend. Olympic teams are being announced, and USA women's basketball announced their Olympic team. And they're going to win the gold. I mean, obviously. Doesn't really matter who they have. They're going to win the gold regardless. But they did not put Caitlin Clark on that Olympic basketball team. And I threw out there on social media that I just, quite frankly, couldn't believe it. And I literally had people coming at me saying, oh, well, who is she better than these 12 ladies that are on the roster? She doesn't play defense. We need defense in the Olympics. Give me a break. If you want to grow that sport, if you want to make women's basketball matter, not only in the Summer Olympics, but moving forward, you need to showcase Caitlin Clark as much as humanly possible. She is the most popular women's basketball player on planet Earth, and it's not even close. And you don't put her on the Olympic team, and a report came out saying one of the reasons the thought was that her, quote, millions of fans wouldn't like the limited playing time she would receive. What a missed opportunity for USA women's basketball. What an absolute missed opportunity. Completely stupid, completely dumb. I don't know whose decision it was to leave Caitlin Clark off that team, but you need to take a long look in the mirror because you just set that sport back. How many women get 20,000 people in arenas? I know of one that does. It's Caitlin Clark. How many people get the WNBA in prime time or the WNBA on network television and actually have people watching it? I know one that does. That's Caitlin Clark. I don't know about any of them that do on the roster that was put out by the Olympics. But my goodness, that I won't lose any sleep over it. But you know what? I'm more prone not to watch women's Olympic basketball now. If Caitlin Clark was playing, I'd watch it. I'd watch it in a heartbeat. So would a lot of you. She is the most marketable, most recognizable, biggest force that women's basketball has had in this country. For whatever reason, she is, whether you like it or not. I don't care whether she plays defense, and quite frankly, I don't really care if she's quote-unquote better than the 12 ladies that are on that roster. You missed a chance to enhance that sport. An absolute shame on the people that left Caitlin Clark off that Olympic basketball roster. Absolutely ridiculous. 641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your phone calls, your texts are welcome. In fact, text now because Ventrell Miller comes up next. Former Florida Gator, current Jacksonville Jaguar. He's coming back from an Achilles, but that rookie year last year, he was in the film room. He was in the meeting room. He was getting all those mental reps. We're going to ask about that. We're going to ask about the rehab that he did to get back to where he is. And I'm telling you guys, Ventrell Miller's making plays out there. I cannot wait till the pads come on because 51 is flashing, and that's what you're looking for this time of year. My conversation with Ventrell Miller from Jaguar Minicamp comes up next. Hacker After Dark on a Monday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Oh, good morning. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Meow.
Doing their best to make every morning good. Or at least a little better.
Oh, now I see what you're saying.
Mornings on 1010XL.
That's good. That's good fun.
Hacker here, and I just got back from a 9-day cruise to the Caribbean. Now, I knew I was going to slip off my Awaken 180 program because, hey, I deserve it. I've lost 65 pounds so far. But guess what? My Awaken 180 coach even suggested it and helped me cheat. She showed me how to take a break for 9 days and not put any of the weight back on. I ate all sorts of foods, from fried green tomatoes to frog legs, but the shocking part, I didn't keep going back up for seconds, thirds, or fourths. My body didn't need it, and I really didn't want it. Did I lose weight on vacation? No, I was on a break. But did I gain 10 pounds? No, sir. I didn't gain a single pound because my metabolism is on fire. My body's just doing its thing. If you want a program that works, want coaches that understand real life, do what we all did and call Awaken 180. They've got your back while keeping your front from popping. 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays, and new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Did you know Duck Duck Rooter is the area's go-to plumber? A 5-star Google-rated company, Duck Duck Rooter can take care of all of your plumbing repairs and upgrades. Need to switch from septic over to city sewer? Call the Duck. How about water heater repairs and replacement? You're just a duck away, or call away, for Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Hey Jaguar fans, I'm Donovan Darius, former 10-year NFL All-Pro Jacksonville Jaguar safety. I'm hosting my 8th annual youth football tackling technique camps all throughout Jacksonville. With over 50 skills and drills, these young athletes will learn everything it takes from me and my coaches to be effective on and off the field. This camp is for kids ages 7 to 14 for June 18th, June 20th, and June 24th. To sign up your kid, go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com. DariusNextLevelTraining.com.
Follow the U.S. Open on 1010XL.
Expect anything different?
U.S. Open coverage is brought to you by
Vaughn Motor Group.
He's 8 under par.
Follow the leaders on 1010XL.
The defending champion says, remember me?
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Kick it here with Zero Res. If you're like me, you like to sit on the sofa and recliners and watch a good game or show. You know, unwind down from the day. But sometimes TV time means food, drink, and a mess as well. That's why you need to have the Zero Res truck out and get that furniture looking great again. All of June, Zero Res offering 25% off all upholstery cleaning, 25% off a sectional, off a sofa, 25% off a love seat, 25% off your favorite recliner. Zero Res, man. You spell it forward, you spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Your kids can learn from NFL Hall of Famer Leroy Butler's annual free Legends football and cheer camp. June 22nd at the Police Athletic League at Ed Austin Park. Register at jaxpalsports.com.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
Dreams Come True is a local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
Caddyshack Ranch provides a safe, loving, and forever home to endangered big cats. Caddyshack on the north side of Jacksonville has helped lions, tigers, and endangered animals for 30 years. Learn how you can visit or help at caddyshackranch.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
For over 40 years, Play It Again Sports has served its customers with a winning, sustainable shopping model. Could say, we were recycling before recycling was cool. Save on quality used sporting goods for baseball, softball, lacrosse, hockey, golf, tennis, and more. Or sell us your gently used gear. We buy all sports, all seasons, and offer cash on the spot. Stop by Play It Again Sports today on Merrill Road near 295 or online at playitagainsports.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. We're glad you're with us. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Earlier today, Miller Electric Center, Jaguar Minicamp. I had the opportunity to catch up with former Florida Gator, current Jacksonville Jaguar, Ventrell Miller, coming back off a pretty serious Achilles injury, but he has looked outstanding this offseason through OTAs, and he looked very good today, as a matter of fact, at minicamp. Here's my conversation. Ventrell Miller on Hacker After Dark. All right, Jaguar minicamp going on here at the Miller Electric Center. We got Jaguar linebacker Ventrell Miller here with us. Ventrell, how we doing?
Pretty good. Good day today. Good day today, flying around, making plays. So good day today.
Good to see you back out there, man. What's it feel like to be back out there?
I feel pretty good. Just being able to be out there with my teammates, compete, make plays. It's always a good feeling to be able to play the game of football.
How challenging was last year? You had such a good training camp, and then obviously the injury happened. You know, what was your mindset and the rehab process to get back here?
Definitely a little challenging, just as a mental, from the mental aspect of it. Just not being able to play, but staying focused, getting your film, all that stuff, still attending meetings and all that stuff. So mentally, you had to still be locked in while you weren't able to play. So that was a big challenge, but did a good job with that. And like I said, the offseason was a good offseason as well. So.
You know, and last year, like you said, you got the meetings, you got the mental reps. Just talk about that process of not being able to be on the field but still learning in the NFL.
Definitely. my coaches last year did a good job just having me involved. Every week we'll bring in a little different stuff from I think I had the screens, boots, and all play actions and stuff like that. So just dialed in and giving the guys that was already in the room playing basically feedback on what I seen. So that's how I felt like that was last year.
You know, and in that rookie class last year, you and Cooper Hodges were both guys that got injured. You kind of went through this process together. What was it like to have somebody else go through it with you?
Yeah, definitely. It's always good. Well, I ain't going to just say it's good for somebody else to be injured, but just having that guy, Cooper was along me the whole way. I feel like we were just working out the whole offseason together. So it was good just to have somebody else to go through it with you and compete with you and grind with you and get back.
Now, you are flying around out here right now. In fact, I've seen a lot of stories that are written, and I agree with it, that you're one of the guys that kind of opened some eyes in OTAs. A different mindset coming into year number 2 for you?
Yeah, most definitely. The goal of the offseason was to come back bigger, faster, stronger. Believe I did that. We're at a good point now, but we're just trying to keep stacking, keep give my reps, keep getting everything down pat, I say.
Ryan Nielsen, brand new defensive scheme. What has he brought to the table for you guys?
I just like aggressive. I like the mentality Coach Ryan brought. Just aggressive. Wants you to attack, playing fast, so free up to play fast and make a play, I say.
A lot of big men in front of you now. You bring in Eric Armstead, Jordan Jefferson, Mason Smith. That's got to be a linebacker's best friend.
Yeah, definitely. You always love to have those big guys up in front of you taking care of the hard work, make my job easier. So definitely big shout out to those guys.
As we begin to wrap up, Ventrell, what's your hope for the next couple of days of this mini camp? What do you hope to accomplish before you get a little downtime leading into training camp?
Just continue to perfect the craft, I say. Keep coming out here making plays, getting better on and correcting mistakes I had previously. Just continue to get better, I say. That's the plan.
Got to ask you as we wrap up, Florida Gators, man, Billy Napier, it's a tough schedule this year. What do you think?
Hey, man, we definitely got a dog. We got a dog fight this year, but I like Nate. We're gonna see what he does this year. But I'm all down with Nate. Hopefully, the 31st, I got some things for the 31st as well. So I'm excited for that game as well. But I'm looking forward to him, seeing him work.
And final question, I mean, coming from a guy like you, some Gator fans are frustrated with Billy Napier. Yeah. You played for the guy. Yeah. You like Billy, right?
I like Billy. Definitely a player's coach. I believe all the players like Coach Napier, but as you know, Florida's a tough place. You got to win. So, but I think he'll put it together this year. That's my thoughts on it.
Ventrell, it's great to see you back out here, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Ventrell Miller is an easy guy to root for. I mean, he came over to do that interview today, big smile on his face. Now, keep in mind, they had been running around, getting after it for over an hour. And quite frankly, there are some times where you're waiting to interview these guys where you're like, oh, man, I hope this goes well. Ventrell ran over, was excited to be there. I mean, it's just the guy's got an engaging personality, man. It's hard not to like somebody like that. I am absolutely rooting for Ventrell Miller. And Hacker, you're a Gator homer. No, it has really nothing to do with that. It really doesn't. I'm a big fan of Jarian Jones, too. Jarian Jones, I think, is going to be a stud on this defense. I'm looking forward to talking to him probably in training camp. But there's just something about Ventrell Miller that makes him easy to root for. But I'll tell you this, there's a lot of competition at linebacker, right? I mean, how many do they keep? You know, 4 guys are going to be here. Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma, and Ventrell Miller. Caleb Johnson, they brought him back. He's the special teams guy. That's 5. You probably keep, 6, maybe 7 with the new rule? A lot of competition for those final linebacker spots. Could there be some under-the-radar guys that we're maybe not talking enough about? Potentially. But Ventrell Miller and Cooper Hodges, actually, for that matter, both guys really pulling for him. Both guys were very good last year in training camp, a lot of promise. Both guys got hurt in the preseason. Both guys missed their entire rookie campaign. But both guys learned, right? Both guys were in the classroom. Both guys were in the film room. And I think it's almost a lock that both guys are going to be on the 53-man roster. I think they like Ventrell Miller. And I also think they like Cooper Hodges there on the offensive line. So there you go. Thank you to the Jaguar PR staff for that. We'll be back down there again tomorrow. The Jaguar talk's not going to go away. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com in less than 10 minutes. But I believe tomorrow I'm scheduled to chat with Mac Jones. So that'll be fun. That'll be interesting. Talking with Mac Jones. He's the only quarterback right now at minicamp. Trevor Lawrence is being excused. So is C.J. Beathard. two veterans that don't have to be here. Mac Jones is here, and Mac Jones is throwing every pass out there. So I might be talking to a tired Mac Jones tomorrow, but that is who we are scheduled to meet with tomorrow after the Tuesday session of Jaguar rookie minicamp. Coming up next, more on the Jaguars, not only minicamp, but back to the OTAs, back to the offseason that was, and if there's anything that will happen in the next 5 weeks leading into training camp. My buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. He's one of my favorites. He joins me next. Hacker After Dark on a Monday. We're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube. Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Is your roof ready to weather the storm? Don't take chances with your home safety. Trust the experts at Universal Roof and Contracting. Get peace of mind knowing your home is protected from the elements. They'll ensure your roof is in top shape to handle anything Mother Nature throws its way. Right now, get 10% off a re-roof or repairs, plus a free wind mitigation with a full roof replacement. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or click universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Matt Hayes here for Leonard Truck Outfitters. The Southeast's biggest truck accessory and trailer company is opening their newest location on Beach Boulevard. Truck accessories, trailers, or commercial uplifts, they've got you covered. From Real Truck, UWS, Weather Guard, carry-on trailers, and much more. Join us for our grand opening on June 28th, starting at noon. XL Primetime will be there live from 2 to 4 with special promotions and giveaways, even a free golf cart. That's June 28th. Don't forget about our other location on Blanding Boulevard.
Fish are good at hiding. Captain Kevin can help you find them.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Thursday nights at 6.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss on 1010XL AM.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss your chance to see teams from the biggest league in the world in Jacksonville as they compete for the Stateside Cup. Be there when Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham take the pitch July 27th at Everbank Stadium, home of the Jaguars. With the series trophy on the line, competition will be fierce. Tickets on sale now for as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. Mad Dad's is asking for good, committed men who want to be part of an organization that has been around for 17 years. We are a group that is part of the solution, not the problem. We are a group that don't stand around murmuring and complaining, but get into action and hit the streets to get the community to break the code of silence to remove the murderers off our streets. We do not require a lot of time, just willing and able bodies to get involved. We've had far too many murders this year already not to get involved. If you want to be part of this great organization, call 904-718-1649. We're looking for men, not men acting like boys. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad Jacksonville chapter Facebook or maddadjacksonville.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They're serving the Jacksonville area with locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk, run, hike, play golf, move again, pain-free. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation, 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. That is QC Kinetics.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jaguar minicamp going on right now. Although a lot of veterans were excused, some good work out there for the 60-plus guys that were in attendance. They'll be back out there tomorrow and Wednesday, and then that's it for the off-season program. They will come back at the end of next month for training camp. With that, my buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brian, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Ryan?
Brian, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. You and I haven't spoken on air since OTAs started, so it's been over a month, and your thoughts in totality, we'll kind of get into some individual stuff in a moment, but what you've seen out there over the 3 weeks of OTAs and today out at minicamp.
Well, the general manager talked at the end of January about being bigger, stronger, and faster. And that's my overall impression of this roster. Whether we're talking about guys like Eric Armstead that they added, or Brian Thomas Jr. in the draft, this is a bigger, stronger, faster team. And in this league that seemingly gets bigger, stronger, and faster every year, I think the Jaguars have made I don't want to say a dramatic jump forward, but it pops at me when I've watched them on the field at OTAs and even today in the first day of minicamp. There are a lot of big guys who move fast, and at times last year, they just didn't have enough of those.
You've seen every wide receiver that's come through here. You're a Jaguar encyclopedia in that department. Your initial impressions of Brian Thomas?
Well, I mean, he's big and long, and I know people have heard that or read that during the draft process. I don't remember. And look, Reggie Williams, who the Jaguars took in the first round in 2004, was the last guy with this kind of size. I mean, when Reggie walked in the room, you understand why they took a chance on him. He was tall with the longest arms and just this huge frame. One year he had 10 touchdowns, so he wasn't a total bust, but he didn't turn into the great player that they hoped he would be. This kid just has a different look about him. He's got that Reggie Williams size, but he runs routes really precisely. I don't want to put him in hollowed categories too quickly, but I mean, when I watch him, I think I'm watching a young Keenan McCardell. He's that precise with the routes he runs. And you've heard Trevor Lawrence and Press Taylor talk at length about how football smart the kid is, how he's just got that sense of the game. I mean, he looks like a guy that is going to keep safeties on their heels and one false step towards the line of scrimmage thinking the run is coming, and Brian Thomas is going to split those guys and make them pay. So I think he can be a big difference maker, but not just in the passing game. I think he'll open things up down the field for the running game, And certainly that's an area the Jaguars need to be better at this year.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. When you talk about the wide receiver position, Brian, there were a lot of questions after the departure of Calvin Ridley, the release of Zay Jones. And look, it's all we can go on. OTAs and minicamp and a couple of the veterans. Christian Kirk's not even here. He's been excused. But when I look at that wide receiver room, my overwhelming thought there, and really the rest of the roster, but at least focusing on wide receiver right now, is competition. There's a lot of guys that could very easily make this team in given years that are not going to be able to make this team because of the numbers game.
Yeah, and you got to, as you think about the wide receivers room, and you think about Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas that we've mentioned, and Gabe Davis, who's a big receiver, and people remember him from Buffalo. I think you've also got to factor in Evan Ingram. I mean, I know he plays tight end. I get it. But he's a big receiver, and he factors into the routes that they run. So you've got four guys right there who are going to be vying for the football. And then you look at some guys, Parker Washington, right? He made some clutch catches down the stretch last year in places like Cleveland that aren't always easy to play at in December. And yet, people kind of dismiss him. They think, well, they signed Devin Duvernay, who's another one, right? A Pro Bowl return guy who looks like he runs pretty good routes and might have a role, kind of like Jamal Agnew had. So there are a lot of potential weapons for Trevor Lawrence. And look, when you're building a modern offense, it's just all about the weapons. How many more can you give me? And I think there are a couple of young guys that will, and this is a team that's going to want to develop receivers. They like them on special teams, and they like to have a bevy of targets for their quarterback. Strikes me as a guy, a couple of guys strike me as they'll be practice squad guys.
I think they will be practice squad guys. I look at the end of that wide receiver room, Tim Jones, Elijah Cooks. People love Joshua Cephas, the undrafted free agent. I'll give you another one. Is it Brevin Easton, number 80? Every time I see that guy, he's making plays out there. So they're going to have some tough decisions at wide receiver, and that gets me
you want to have a guy, too, and he looks like a Christian Kirk slot player. You want to have guys that can do what your starters do so that when your offense changes, when they're on the sidelines or they're injured, it doesn't change too much. You can still do the things that you do. So he's an interesting guy and one that I'll have my eye on also.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All the offensive guys we've talked about, big years coming up for both Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby. Let's be honest. The rookie years were not what people hoped they would be for a second-round pick and a third-round pick. Now, it's not fair to judge after 1 year, but certainly the pressure is on both of those guys. I'm curious, Brian, your opinion of both Strange and Bigsby.
Well, first of all, I've defended Bigsby. I love him. He is strong. He's powerful. We saw him in the preseason last year. And I know people think that he had ball security issues. He did, but not like fumbling the ball all over the field. He had two passes go off his hands, one in Indianapolis and one against the 49ers that probably shouldn't have been thrown, right? And then he had the one fumble that he had to overturn the call on the field to call it a fumble so that they could review it. I didn't see the ball security issues with Tank Bigsby. I think they got blown out of proportion. Now, what you did have with him was protection issues of the quarterback. And you can't have a running back on the field that isn't sound in pass protection. And he wasn't, which is why he didn't get more opportunities. But there was a 10 or 12 carry stretch for him late in the year last year where he averaged 6 yards per rushing attempt. So he's a guy with a lot of potential. He's powerful. He's fast. He's got great vision. He's just a young player. And Ryan, I think people expect too much of some guys, right? I mean, not everyone is ready to step onto an NFL field and go. You're talking about traits. You're talking about potential. And these guys love the potential of Tank Bigsby. I got to be honest, I don't know what to make of Brenton Strange. I didn't know that much about him coming out of Penn State. He didn't strike me as one of those guys that made a lot of sense. I know that the coaches like him, and they've got a role for him last year. He's a pretty good blocker in the running game, right? I mean, there were a couple of plays in the Buffalo game at Tottenham where he made thunderous blocks on defensive linemen. But you don't draft a tight end in the second round for blocking. So we're going to have to see the ball in his hands more this year. You laid it all out when you said it's a big year for him to prove things. And again, you hope that second and third round picks can have more production in their rookie year. But I think when you average it all out, these are guys that are probably right about where you would expect them to be. They needed some development time. And now we'll see. And I know we're going to talk about today. I watched Ventrell Miller, who was hurt last year, and Cooper Hodges, who was on IR last year. Both of them look like they're healthy, strong, and ready to be contributors in their second season when they didn't play. So I would expect the same thing from Strange and Bixby.
A couple of more for Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. I agree, Brian. I had the chance to speak with Ventrell Miller after practice. I've been very impressed by him this offseason. Quickly to the offensive line, you mentioned Cooper Hodges, and that word competition comes back up. If we assume Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, Anton Harrison, for starters, you could do a lot worse than that. And then all of a sudden now you look on the bench, Walker Little, Luke Fortner, two guys that have played a ton of football, are now presumably offensive linemen 6 and 7. Tyler Shatley's in the mix. You draft Javon Foster. We talk about Cooper Hodges. There's a lot of guys on that offensive line. It's going to be interesting to see how that works itself out.
You know, there were a lot of guys last year, and then Josh Wells went down to Detroit, and all of a sudden it just sort of unraveled. So you've got to have a group of guys in that room that you can cross-train and you can depend on. I'll tell you this, if I'm ranking them, you got the 3 tackles, and Walker Little's a tackle. He's not going to play guard. My third guard right now, and he hasn't played a snap of a regular season game, isn't Shatley, because I don't think Shatley moves as well as he once did. I think Shatley's a break glass in case of emergency guy that you want to be in your locker room for the kind of person he is and who he's close to. He and Trevor Lawrence are very, very tight. But I'm going with Cooper Hodges. I mean, this is a young man's game. And today, again, they're not in full contact drills, but to see how he looked sort of doughy last year, like a lot of guys do coming out of college and spending the off season in the the traveling circuit as they're going from team to team. Man, he looked hard today. I mean, he looked like a year in the weight room has really done him a service. He looked powerful, decisive. I think that is your replacement right guard when Brandon Sheriff eventually hangs it up. So you do have a lot of guys that you can lean on. And I would say right now that, Walker Little is my first tackle in, obviously. I would say that Cooper Hodges is my first interior offensive lineman in. And then I'm keeping the Foster kid from Missouri right there because he's a big, impressive physical specimen. That's my 8.
Brian, from the O-line to the D-line, and you mentioned this earlier, just big men, right? Eric Armstead is a big man. Mason Smith, Jordan Jefferson, albeit rookies, they are big guys. Whatever verbiage between Trenton Baalke and Doug Peterson, more physical, whatever you want to call it, the Jaguars got some big guys this offseason in the interior of that defensive line.
Well, I stood next to Mason Smith at a charity event on Saturday night, and again, he's wearing a hoodie, and I am just amazed, not just at how thick he is up top. I mean, he's got a huge chest and shoulders, big neck, but how wide his shoulders are, how long his arms are. I mean, this is a guy with all the physical traits. It made him one of the top high school recruits, and if not for a knee injury in his sophomore year at LSU, probably would have been a guy drafted much, much higher. So, now you stack him, and you've got Eric Armstead, who comes in as a mammoth guy, 6'6", almost 6'7", with a huge frame, and Roy Robertson-Harris and Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, and hopefully Devon Hamilton is healthy this year. And you mentioned Jefferson. They have numbers and size, and they have to be better. Look, this team last year in the season finale with the playoffs on the line couldn't stop an aging Derrick Henry. He was so easy to stop for them earlier in the year. He was not the same Derrick Henry that we have known, and yet he looked like it because this defensive front wasn't big enough, wasn't strong enough, wasn't healthy enough. So they're not going to have that be the problem this year. They're going to go out and get big guys and add to the equation. And I think, again, it's paper because we're in June. Looks like they've solved the problem.
Final moments with Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com as Jaguar minicamp going on this week down at the Miller Electric Center. On the edge, Brian, we've talked about this the entire offseason, and here we are. About the offseason programs about to end, training camp on the horizon. Josh Allen is fabulous. Trayvon Walker looks like he's going to have all the potential in the world. Do they have enough after those two to get the job done, in your opinion?
Well, no, I mean, you never have enough, do you? You're always looking for more pass rush help. They went and signed Trevis Gibson, who was with Bill Shuey in Chicago and was, just a cup of coffee with the Tennessee Titans. And, they got DJ Coleman, who was a promising outside backer through offseason last year. You don't know where Yasir Abdullah fits in. The second-year man from Louisville in the defense that Mike Caldwell ran, was sort of an outside backer, but now he looks more like an inside backer, size-wise, with the edge guys that are there. No, you don't have enough pass rush, at least not as we stand here today. Now, if these guys come in Ryan Nielsen's new scheme and look good in August, then you'll stand pat. And if they don't, you'll dip into that veteran market and go find a pass rusher out there on the open market.
In the secondary, it's a similar question, but before we get there, I want to pinpoint one of the rookies. Is it just me, or every time I'm out there, Brian, 22 is all over the place? I'm very high on Jarian Jones. What's your opinion of him?
Well, I have not watched him as much as I've watched the big guys, so I can't give you more than what I've heard, and that is that they love him here. They love his work ethic. They love his energy level. They love his desire to go out on the field and practice every day. And I saw him after practice today doing an interview with another station. Huge smile on his face, just soaking up the moment. And all I could think of was that coach who told me, you're going to love this guy because he loves football. He certainly got the height, weight, size, speed, ratio. He's got all of those things. And what will give him an opportunity is that smile he has on his face to go out there and play. In the end, you want guys who love football, who will sell out for football. It's pro football. You play for the money, but you can't just play for the money. The game is too dangerous. It hurts too much. You've got to love to play football. And all I've heard about him is he is the prototype of a guy, Ryan, who loves ball.
And to me, that might be the most intriguing position, Brian, going into training camp is corner, because Tyson Campbell and Ronald Darby. And after those two, you got 6 guys that were drafted in the last 3 years. Greg Jr., Monteric Brown, Christian Braswell, Eric Howlett, and then, of course, Jarian Jones, DeAndre Prince. You're going to need one of those young guys to emerge, but, man, there is going to be some battles for roster spots between guys that were drafted here very, very recently.
Well, when you play press coverage, you got to have speed. You've got to be able, because the way that the rules favor the receivers coming off the line of scrimmage, you're going to get beat from time to time. So you need guys who can turn and run, and that, at least from my impression, again, they're running around in shorts and T-shirts. You got some speed. You mentioned the Prince kid. I mean, he can really turn and run. So you've got a lot of guys who are playing a new scheme, right? I mean, this is a completely different scheme. They didn't play the press man coverage here under Mike Caldwell. So it's going to be an intriguing storyline. Let me just throw one name into the mix. And I didn't know much about him other than he's been around for 7 years. But looking at Trey Flowers, holy cow. I mean, he looks, and I'm going to say this and people are going to roll their eyes, but I mean, he's got the body of Jalen Ramsey. Now, he's not as muscled up as Ramsey, but if you look at his shoulders and how long his arms are, I mean, you're looking at a guy who you think, you found him in free agency. Can he still play? Can he give you something? Because he's different than all those other corners. He's got real height and length. I'll be interested to see him. That's going to be a fun group to watch.
No, that's a good point. He is very, very big. He towers over some of those other corners out there. Brian, final question. Bottom line,
Sure.
We get to go out there every day. The fan base hasn't seen this team since January 7th. What's your message to the fans about the offseason program as we head into training camp on your overall thought of this roster?
Well, I think 2 things. First of all, and I started with it, bigger, stronger, faster. You are going to see a bigger football team. Guys that, and you've mentioned all the names, this team will strike you, and I think how much bigger and deeper this team is. The other thing is that the quarterback, and he wasn't here today, obviously, he looks bigger. He's always been confident. I mean, even in 2020 when things were melting down around him with he who should not be named, that one former head coach, right? I mean, with Voldemort or Urban Meyer, whatever you want to call him. This is a guy who always stood there, confident in his own ability, and took the slings and the arrows and stayed right in there. But there's just a little difference to him. I think he's stung by the way that last season ended. And sure, everybody says that hurts. And coaches say, yeah, he was affected by it. He was stung by it, and he looks like he really took it to heart and spent the offseason preparing for it. So I'm really excited to see what he will look like behind that offensive line. And for the last couple of years, he's been the reason for our hope. And I think that hope will start to be materialized this year if he is on his feet and healthy.
Brian, final week of the offseason, what's it look like over there at Jaguars.com?
It's quiet, right? I mean, we're going to end all of our digital programming. Our last Jags AM is tomorrow. Happy hour, all those things will just kind of go quiet for the next couple of weeks. And we'll take our summer break, with the players and the coaches. And the hunt will still be here, and that's, one of the biggest undertakings of the production department. So you'll still see some stuff there. And, of course, they have a huge crew that works on that, and they do a hell of a job with it. But then, right about camp, we'll start ramp up.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Brian, the next time you and I talk, we will be previewing training camp, and that is absolutely a beautiful thing. Have a great couple of weeks. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Looking forward to it, Ryan.
There you go. Brian Sexton here with us on Hacker After Dark. So there you go. Jaguar minicamp. We're going to do a lot more in the 9 o'clock hour. Also be back down there tomorrow. They're on the field tomorrow and Wednesday. Scheduled to talk to Mac Jones tomorrow. So we'll bring you that conversation tomorrow evening here on Hacker After Dark. A couple of scores to update you on. Stanley Cup Final, Game 2, Edmonton and Florida. The Panthers lead that series 1-0. Edmonton with a 1-0 lead tonight in Game 2. Of course, no team from Canada has won the Stanley Cup for 3 decades. You got to go back to Montreal in 1993 to find the last team from Canada that won the Stanley Cup. Florida leads 1-0, but the Edmonton Oilers do lead Game 2 tonight 1-0. And the last ticket that's going to be punched to Omaha is in Athens right now. NC State, Georgia, bottom 5. NC State up 4-2. However, the Dogs have them loaded. We will keep you updated. The winner of this game will get Kentucky in Omaha to kick off the College World Series. We know Florida and Texas A&M is going to be a game on Saturday. Florida State, Tennessee, in what should be a really good one. And I believe the other one, I'll have to look it up, it's North Carolina and somebody. I think it's another team from the ACC, but I know North Carolina did advance from their region. They knocked off West Virginia. So UNC is in, Tennessee is in, Florida State, Florida, Kentucky, A&M, and we'll see what happens here with the winner of Georgia and North Carolina State. At halftime on Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up until 10 o'clock tonight. As always, Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. By the way, Virginia is the other team. Virginia will face North Carolina Friday, 2 o'clock. Florida State, Tennessee, Friday at 7 o'clock. The Gators play Saturday night at 7 against Texas A&M, and the winner of this Georgia-NC State ball game will take on Kentucky. And by the way, NC State got out of that bases-loaded jam, so I believe they still have the lead. Again, we will keep you updated. 9 o'clock hour to come, we'll talk a little Gator baseball. Nick De La Torre of Gators Online and On 3. He was in Clemson, South Carolina yesterday. He will join us tonight to talk about that game, one of the most memorable sporting games that I've seen in quite some time, quite frankly. I'm going to remember it for a while. It was crazy. So we'll talk to Nick De La Torre about that, and our AFC North preview begins tonight. Here on Hacker After Dark, throughout the week, we will make stops in Cleveland, in Baltimore, in Pittsburgh. Tonight, it's all about Cincinnati and the return of Joe Burrow. My buddy Jay Morrison of Pro Football Network has covered the Bengals for years. We'll recap Cincinnati's offseason coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark on a Monday as we roll on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
traffic stinks.
No, wait a minute. I know what that smell is.
The Frangie Show doesn't.
You're absolutely right.
The Frangie Show.
Go on out and play in the traffic.
Your afternoon traffic deodorant.
Smells super.
On 1010XL.
You know, I talk about Awaken 180 being life-changing, and you say, well, how's it life-changing? Well, 65-plus pounds, I think, speaks for itself in 3.5 months. But I was supposed to have a minor medical procedure done on my leg, in part because I was overweight, right? So I go to see that doctor on Friday. I don't have to have that procedure any longer. It's amazing. I've lost 65 pounds. Procedure's not going to happen. I did the hard work. The easy work was the procedure. The hard work was losing the weight, although, like I told the doctor, it really wasn't that hard with Awaken 180 weight loss. It's the best weight loss program I've ever been on. It's by far and away the most successful program I've ever been on. If you need to lose weight like I did, call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or go online, awaken180weightloss.com. If it's time for you to lose some weight, trust me, I was there. You can do it with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year, 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year, 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
You're gonna feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nothing has a 10-year warranty except for a new AC unit from Vons. VONS. Vons Amazing 10. This is legit. A full 10-year warranty. It covers parts, labor, and refrigerant. That's an unmatched commitment they make to their customers, while others will charge extra for weekend and same-day emergencies. Not at Vons. No extra charges. Just great service when you need it, whether your unit needs to be repaired or replaced. Remember, if your AC won't turn on, just call Vons.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or ceiling paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
NBA Finals last night. That's one thing we haven't talked about yet. And I'm a diehard NBA fan, so this pains me when I say it. But I just think they stretched this thing out too long. I mean, the ratings were bad for Game 1. I don't know what the ratings were last night, but it's just like, it's kind of hard for me to get into this Dallas-Boston matchup. And I'm trying. I better try really quick because it might be over in the next 2 games. Boston's up 2-0. I said before the series I was picking Boston. I didn't understand why so many people were picking Dallas. You know, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are great, but Boston's clearly the better team, and they have been the best team in the NBA all year. But I don't know. For whatever reason, the finals just kind of isn't doing it for me. And I'm a fan. I can only imagine if you're a casual NBA fan. I just think the season... You know, Denmark, I was thinking about this. I might have mentioned this to you last week. I remember that game the Magic played the Lakers where Jalen Suggs missed that open shot like in the middle part of October. And to think that that was part of this season is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
It was 8 months ago, man.
Game 2 last night got 12 million people on average. So first game got pretty much 11. This game got 12.
And that's probably down from years past, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm the same way. It's just not doing a lot for me. Having said that, it'll get the monkey off of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's shoulders to win a championship. What's been the talk with them really their entire young careers? Can you ever be a superstar without a ring? Well, they're about to get a ring. Luka Doncic is just a monster, but he has no help. None whatsoever. I mean, there were guys that Boston was just leaving guys wide open last night, begging them to shoot the ball because they didn't have any fear of Dallas's outside perimeter game. And Dallas made it a game late in the fourth, but, I mean, the game was 105-98. To me, it wasn't that close. Tatum's a monster. Jaylen Brown's a monster. Derek White and Porzingis and Al Horford. I think this will be Al Horford's first ring. And I wonder, that'll probably be a career for him. That'll be an interesting show if he does call it a career. To think that Al Horford is still playing in the NBA and playing at a very high level. I mean, how long has Joakim Noah been out of the game? How long has Corey Brewer been out of the game? Yet Al Horford still going in what probably is a borderline Hall of Fame career in what he's done in the National Basketball Association. So we'll see. Game 3 Wednesday night. We'll do some NBA talk tomorrow, but the Celtics do lead that series 2-0. In NBA news, I guess the big news today is Dan Hurley says thank you, but no thank you. I guess NIL and I guess the transfer portal didn't force Dan Hurley out of college.
Well, he's saving college sports now.
I don't know if he's saving college sports, but I think there would be a conversation if guys like that continued to leave, continued to retire. The fact that Dan Hurley said no to a reported $70 million from the Lakers to return to UConn, first off, is wild to me. All right, wild. Nothing against UConn. I'm sure Storrs, Connecticut is awesome. But you've already won back-to-back rings. There is nothing more to accomplish in Storrs, Connecticut. And you turn down the Los Angeles Lakers? Look, if it's the Milwaukee Bucks offering you the job, if it's the Detroit Pistons, or if the Toronto Raptors come calling, I might understand it a little more. Turn down the Lakers to stay at UConn.
Yeah, but is that really a good job, though, with LeBron and Anthony Davis?
Yeah, the Lakers is a great job.
Okay, but if you don't win immediately, you're getting canned.
Well, you're getting canned with $70 million in your pocket.
Yeah, but you're having LeBron that's older, Anthony Davis that's getting older, a roster that's not that good, and an NBA draft that you have no idea who you can get that can come into your program and do well.
It's the Lakers. It's just one of the things. The Yankees.
Yeah, but so do you think that he's staying at UConn, hopefully to get an NBA job in the next year or two to get a better job?
No, he won't get. No, that's my point. He will not get a better job than the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'll disagree there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You know, you talk about the premier franchises in sports.
Well, it is, yes.
The New York Yankees, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the LA Lakers are obviously on that list. If you take a list of NBA jobs, and I really don't care what the personnel is like, it's the Lakers, man. I mean,
there's no disagreeing there, but how are you going to sell me that this is a good job with the team, other than saying it's the Lakers?
Well,
who's on the team that you can say, okay, we have these building pieces to move forward? Because if we all know if you're not in agreement with LeBron, you're done.
Yeah, but LeBron's going to be gone in a year anyway, and you got a 6-year contract.
And so, so then who else is on the Lakers?
Right, and Dan Hurley goes there for 2 years. Let's say worst case scenario, he gets fired. Then every college job in America will be throwing blank checks at his doorstep.
Yeah,
he
but
could have gotten back in immediately.
Isn't it better if you wait for an NBA job like, I don't know, the Knicks or somebody else?
No, I disagree. Billy Donovan took Oklahoma City. And he never won anything at Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but
then he went from Oklahoma City to Chicago.
That team had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook,
yeah,
James Harden.
Agree to disagree. I guess I'm not going to convince you. You're not going to convince me. It's the Lakers, man. And look, nothing against UConn. But if my option is try to win another title, I've already won 2. I can't do anything else. I've already been to the top of the mountain once. It was so good, I went to the top of the mountain twice in Storrs, Connecticut. And I got the Los Angeles Lakers offering me $70 million. No, I take that job in a heartbeat. I'm shocked he didn't take it. Good for college basketball. Good for the Huskies. It's a big coup for UConn. And the Lakers got to go back to the drawing board. We'll see what happens, J.J. Redick or whomever. Another piece of NFL news quickly. How about Mercedes Lewis coming back again? Mercedes Lewis, drafted by the Jaguars in 2006, is re-signing with the Chicago Bears for his 19th NFL season. Mercedes Lewis now in rarefied air that long in the National Football League. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Jay Morrison of Pro Football Network as our AFC North preview kicks off, focusing on the Cincinnati Bengals. Coming up next, yesterday was amazing in Clemson, South Carolina. A great college baseball game, a game I'll remember for a long time. Nick De La Torre of Gators Online and On 3 was there. We'll talk to him next on Hacker After Dark.
Keep your quarter panel clean with 1010XL.
Missed it by that much. Wow.
Sunday at Iowa Speedway. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 on Jacksonville's NASCAR station. 1010XL.
Your Jaguars game day, your way. Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne!
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
A meal and sparkling conversation.
Helmets and heels.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Just stop. Behave, okay?
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow, okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The doc?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular movement is key to so many health benefits. Aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. Decide to only take the stairs if you're walking less than 6th floor. Never park in the first 10 spaces of the parking lot. Walk during your work breaks. Get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and take a short, brisk walk before the chaos of the day starts. There are so many easy ways to stay active. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Your kids can learn from NFL Hall of Famer Leroy Butler's annual free Legends football and cheer camp. June 22nd at the Police Athletic League at Ed Austin Park. Register at jaxpalsports.com.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
Dreams Come True is a local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
Caddyshack Ranch provides a safe, loving, and forever home to endangered big cats. Caddyshack on the north side of Jacksonville has helped lions, tigers, and endangered animals for 30 years. Learn how you can visit or help at caddyshackranch.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They're serving the Jacksonville area with locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk, run, hike, play golf, move again, pain-free. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation, 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. That is QC Kinetics.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Well, there are some sporting events that you will remember for quite some time, and I would have to think the baseball game in Clemson, South Carolina yesterday will be one of those. 5+ hours, 13 innings, some of the best plays of the college baseball year, and in the end, Florida comes out on top, 11-10. They are going back to Omaha for another College World Series. Nick De La Torre of On3 and Gators Online was in Clemson yesterday. He joins us this evening here on 1010XL. Nick, I know you're busy, man. Appreciate the time today.
Yeah, it's I just had a friend text me who was there in Clemson and said we go to hundreds of games in our lifetime for the opportunity to watch a game like that. One of those games that I don't think either team deserves to lose, but that's sports. You have to have a winner. It was a treat. It didn't feel like 5 hours.
No, it did not. And I'll be the first to say that no one's ever going to confuse me, Nick, for a diehard college baseball fan, but I was enthralled yesterday from when Caglione went deep for the 2-run shot in the first all the way 5 hours later until the final out, the final hit that won the game. Just your thoughts on the game before we really break down on an individual level and how much, reserve Florida had to keep coming back, and then to respond after Clemson did what they did in the bottom of the top of the ninth inning?
I mean, the game had everything. In the first couple innings, you got pushing and shoving and benches clear. Florida had the umpires look at a Clemson pitcher to see if he had sticky stuff on his hat. A player was ejected. 2 coaches were ejected. The place was incredible. Clemson's one of, if not the best catches, considering the moment for Clemson that I've ever seen an outfielder make. I've seen thousands of baseball games. It was an incredible environment for college baseball. Florida, Kevin O'Sullivan pushed his chips all in with Brandon Neely going late in the game. I don't know what Florida would have had available or what they would have had left in the tank if they were going to have to play a game today in Clemson, South Carolina. So it was Florida. It's an incredible run. I joked today on my podcast that they shouldn't have let Florida in the club, and now they're standing on the table ordering bottle service. A team that a month ago I didn't think would be here. I'll raise my hand and say, listen, I lost belief in this Florida baseball team a month ago when they lost 5-6 SEC weekend series in a row. But they're playing their best baseball at the right time, and they've certainly been a really, really fun team to watch these last 2 weeks.
Nick De La Torre of Gators Online and On 3, driving back from Clemson, South Carolina, is with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Nick, you alluded to it there, but how did we get here? I mean, this is a Florida team that had to win 2 out of 3 at the final series of the regular season just to get in the tournament. They're a 3 seed. They got to go to Stillwater. They're in the losers bracket. They have to beat the Big Ten tournament champion Nebraska. They got to beat Oklahoma State twice in Stillwater. They managed to do that. Their reward is going to number 6 Clemson, and they get them 2-0. I mean, what a run it's been over the last week and a half.
Well, let's give you some serendipity. Last year, in 2023, Florida lost Game 2 of a regional to a Big 12 team. Had to come out of the losers bracket to play a team from South Carolina in a super regional, which they swept the Gamecocks. This year, Florida loses Game 2 of a regional to a Big 12 team, has to come out of the losers bracket, and once again plays a team from the state of South Carolina, Clemson, and sweeps them in a super regional. But this is a Florida team that I spend a lot of time watching fall practices. I'll go to the baseball park and write football stories while they practice, and to get a sense of the team I'll cover in the spring. They're super talented. And for whatever reason, they couldn't sustain momentum. They couldn't build momentum and keep it. Florida's on a 5-game winning streak. The last time they won 5 games were games 2 through 6. Back in February. It's just been a team that's been frustrating. They seem to not have answers or have the same things happen over and over again. Now they're dealing with injuries. They lost their starting right fielder, Ty Evans. His replacement, the next man up, tore his ACL against Georgia. So now you're playing Ashton Wilson, who's a Charleston Southern transfer who had 6 at-bats before that Georgia series. And he's hitting 3rd behind Jack Caglione, was the Stillwater MVP. You're getting performances from Brandon Neely, Fisher Jameson. It's not just Jack Caglione. You're getting some guys who didn't have roles, but are now playing key roles. And I think that's one of the cooler things you get. You start to see some people who maybe didn't have opportunities get a chance and take advantage of that. And you see it all throughout the 8 teams that are still left playing.
Nick, there are so many stories, so many players we could discuss, but clearly let's focus on what I believe are the main 2 guys, and I'm not breaking any news there. Let's begin with Brandon Neely. The dude has thrown like 270 pitches in the last 2 weekends. I think I saw some outrageous stat when you go back to the Stillwater Regional and now the Clemson Regional. And I'm so happy for him that he won't be remembered for that 3-run shot in the 9th And by the way, he stayed out there and still did really, really well in the 10th and 11th, if memory serves. What can you say about the performance of Brandon Neely so far this postseason?
Yeah, so, I mean, Brandon Neely, he's a closer, but he's a starting pitcher. When he gets drafted next month, the major league team that picks him will put him and have him start games. He was supposed to be a starter this year. Florida has probably the most decorated high school baseball player in freshman Christian Rodriguez, who's a Gatorade National Player of the Year, has to have arm surgery before the year. He was going to be Florida's closer, so they bumped Neely back, and he's kind of bounced back and forth from closer to starter. And towards the end of the season this last month, they just said, listen, we need him at the back of games. So credit to him for having a mentality of, I'm a starter. Is this going to hurt my draft stock? And kind of just throwing that away and being a team player. But he's always been a fierce competitor. And it doesn't matter. I think you're in that. Kevin O'Sullivan takes care of arms. I've covered his program since 2013. But it's unusual for a guy to pitch as much as Brandon Neely has out of the bullpen. But I knew, and I was actually talking with Scott Strickland in the press box before the game yesterday, we both said, if Florida is in anywhere from a 1 to a 3-run lead with 3 to 6 outs to punch their ticket to Omaha, 22 will be on the mound. And that's what we saw, and Florida pushed their chips in. But the success that Brandon Neely is having right now, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone because he's one of Florida's best pitchers.
Final moments, Nick De La Torre, Gators Online and On 3 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. That leads me to Jack Caglione. You're one of the baseball guys that people turn to, Nick, and you've seen a lot of guys come through that program. I mean, where do you put Caglione with what he's doing now? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's I went back and was watching the game again last night. There's a YouTube channel that cuts out all of the commercials and downtime. So that 5-hour game was about 20 minutes on YouTube. So that was easy. And it kind of hit me again yesterday because watching him pitch, you're just like, it's unbelievable. He has 66 home runs the last 2 years. And by the way, he, for a long stretch of the season, was Florida's only reliable pitcher. He's a special talent, and I don't know that he'll be a two-way guy in the majors, but it has been a treat. I'm a big baseball guy, and just being able to watch what he's done both offensively and as a pitcher, it's hard to put into words. It's very rare, and for long stretches of this season, Florida was so inconsistent, but Jack was just willing the team, almost grabbing them by the collar and dragging them to wins. And I know it means a lot to him. He's going to be a millionaire in a month. He's going to be picked very high. But I think what I've seen from him and learned from him is that he is kind of cherishing these moments he has with this team and with the guys he's spent the last 3 years with.
We know how good Kevin O'Sullivan is, how good he's been. I mean, 9 trips to Omaha. They've won, I think, 9 straight super regionals. Just absolutely absurd. This one's got to be up there, right, from everything they had to face during the regular season to the adversity in the postseason, now getting to Omaha with this team with 27 regular season losses. Is this maybe his best coaching job as the Gator skipper?
Yeah, and it's funny because typically I ask the first question in press conferences, and Florida was just losing games in one of 3 ways, and they would just rotate the way they would lose games. And there were points in the season where he kind of threw his hands up in the air and was like, we've tried coddling them, we've tried yelling at them, we've changed practice. They rotated the weekend pitching rotation like a Costco rotisserie chicken. I'd never seen them move it the way they had this year. He tried everything, and the season ended 1 game over 500. Florida was nearly made themselves ineligible for Omaha. So yeah, I think with the injuries that they've had, with the inconsistencies, yeah, I think this might be one that Kevin O'Sullivan probably looks back on and thinks, man, like it might not have been as fun as some other teams. Some 50-win teams, but I think just what this team has gone through will be very gratifying for the coaching staff when they look back. However the season ends, whether they win the final baseball game of the year or they don't, I think it'll be a season they look back on and be like, man, that was tough to go through. But sometimes the things are harder to go through and more gratifying in the end.
Duval starts with D. Jacksonville Sports Radio is 1010 XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today. Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
2 hours spent on two things: your Jags and the rest of the NFL with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony.
Jaguars today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
How wide is the moon? The answer coming right up.
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The moon is roughly 2,100 miles wide, about a 3-day drive.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
If you wear contact lenses and you're between the ages of 18 and 69, the Vision Research Center is looking for participants in clinical research studies. If eligible, you'll be compensated up to $50 per hour. I've done these contact lens studies for years. The VRC staff is wonderful and they work with my busy schedule. See if you qualify. Visit their website, 188visionok.com. 188visionok.com.
Matt Hayes here for Leonard Truck Outfitters. The Southeast's biggest truck accessory and trailer company is opening their newest location on Beach Boulevard. truck accessories, trailers, or commercial uplifts, they've got you covered. From Real Truck, UWS, Weather Guard, carry-on trailers, and much more. Join us for our grand opening on June 28th, starting at noon. XL Primetime will be there live from 2 to 4 with special promotions and giveaways, even a free golf cart. That's June 28th. Don't forget about our other location on Blanding Boulevard.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or ceiling paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us as our AFC North preview continues. We will make stops in Baltimore, in Pittsburgh, in Cleveland. Tonight, it's all about the Cincinnati Bengals and maybe some normalcy returning to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow back in the fold. T. Higgins is there. Will there be a new contract for him? Jamar Chase as well. There's a lot of questions in Cincinnati. With that, Jay Morrison is our guy when it comes to the Bengals, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Of course, you can check out Jay's terrific work there at Pro Football Network. Jay, how you doing?
Doing great, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Jay, we always appreciate the time. You're the guy when it comes to Cincinnati for us, and let's just start. Last year, we remember the Bengals coming in here on Monday Night Football and Jake Browning looking like Brett Favre, but certainly there was a lot of issues in Cincinnati, injuries and otherwise a year ago. How would you sum up last season when you think back on it?
Yeah, it was disappointing. The injuries were one thing. I mean, anytime you lose Joe Burrow, you think it's probably going to be a lost season. The way Jake Browning played, especially that Monday night game in Jacksonville, was really impressive. The more so than the injuries was just the way they let two key pieces on that defense walk, and Von Bell and Jesse Bates, and they could not overcome it. They thought they would be some growing pains early and they would get things righted, but the defense really never got where it needed to be in terms of recognition and just understanding where they needed to be. A lot of blown assignments, a lot of big plays given up, and that's a reason we've seen them go out and bring Von Bell back this year, as well as get Geno Stone from the Ravens, and really kind of try to bolster that secondary to get back to where they were a couple years ago.
I was always a fan of Zach Taylor. I think he's done a terrific job. Boy, last year, though, it had to earn him a lot of respect in that city with that fan base, I would think. And when you lose Burrow, and for the season not to go in an absolute tailspin, I mean, it did not end the way they wanted it to, certainly, but they were competitive up until almost the very end. I would think Bengal fans really appreciated that about that coaching staff.
Yeah, I think Zach did earn a lot of respect there. I think the way they got Jake Browning ready to play, a guy that had never started a game in his career, the way that the team rallied around him, I think that's a big reason Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator, got the head coaching job in Tennessee. That was really impressive, the job they did with them, and they were leading the Super Bowl champion Chiefs in the fourth quarter in Week 17, and again, it was the defense that let them down, and that they win that game, and they might possibly be in the playoffs with Jake Browning at quarterback.
Let's get into Joe Burrow. Again, Jay Morrison of Pro Football Network here with us. Joe Burrow is back. We've seen video of him. You've seen him every day out there at OTAs. Jay, how has he looked this offseason?
Yeah, he looks great. The drive is there, the snap of the wrist, the velocity, the patented accuracy. It all looks great. that was one of the things we were waiting to see in the when they got to OTAs and started actually doing some 7-on-7 stuff. Is could he make those throws into tighter windows when it was actually defensive guys out there and he wasn't just throwing routes on air, and he did. And a little bit of a worry last week. He didn't practice. He didn't even show up at the practice open to the media. And Zach Taylor said it was just a scheduling issue. He thought the media was going to be there Monday instead of Tuesday, and he apologized for that. But some people are starting to wonder, maybe if he is starting to feel a little tweak in that surgically repaired wrist. But Zach has said, and Joe Burrow has said, that he planned to take days off this offseason to try not to push it too much and get too far ahead of the rehab schedule. So we'll find out this week. Minicamp starts. It's Tuesday through Thursday, and they expect Joe Burrow to be out there throwing all 3 days.
Obviously, we're guessing here, but I wouldn't think we would see Joe Burrow until Sunday, September 8th, correct? I can't imagine he's going to play in the preseason.
You wouldn't think, but there's been a lot of talk about that. This team has started so slow out of the gate the last few years, 0-2 each of the last 2 seasons out of the gate. And, Zach opened up the possibility that maybe they do play the starters in a preseason game or two, just or a series or two to knock the rust off. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the risk far outweighs the reward. You see teams that it's not like it's across the board. Teams rest their starters throughout the preseason, and they find a way to come out of the gate hot. And the Bengals have a very favorable opening month of the season as far as the schedule goes. Yes, they got Kansas City in week 2, but the 3 other games in those first 4 involve either rookie head coaches and or rookie quarterbacks. So good chance for them to come out. I would be a little surprised to see him play in the preseason, but not shocked just based on Zach's previous comments.
Our AFC North preview continues. Jay Morrison of Pro Football Network covering the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, Jay, the wide receivers have gotten a lot of press coverage this year, and not the defensive press coverage. We'll begin with T. Higgins. What is the latest with T. Higgins? Where is he at mentally, in your opinion, and what's the thought there long-term on him?
Yeah, I think he's still frustrated and upset, but not to the point of action. He hasn't signed this franchise tag, so he's not allowed to participate in anything until he does that. And I just think you're going to see him follow the same tack that Jesse Bates did 2 years ago and wait till maybe after the second preseason game to sign the tag, come in, get some work done, and be ready for the opener. He's not going to sit out. He's not going to give up $21.8 million guaranteed. If he did, he'd be right back in the same boat next year, and they tag him again, and we go through this whole dance again. Bengals aren't going to trade him. So fully expect T. Higgins to be in uniform on September 8th, I believe it is, for the opener against the Patriots and all season. And then next year, there's a couple ways they could go. They could just let him walk and get a comp pick, or they could tag him again and trade him. I don't see them tagging him and keeping him, and I definitely don't see them signing him to an extension. It's just too much money with what Jamar is going to get and what Joe Burrow is already getting.
You mentioned Jamar Chase. Now, we saw Justin Jefferson get paid last week in Minneapolis. What, if anything, does that contract have to do with what Jamar Chase may get in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean, it sets the bar. Nobody else is going to go over that number for a couple of years, I wouldn't think. Jamar being the lone possible exception. He said all along that he wanted to wait until Justin signed because that was what he had in mind, was he was going to hurdle it. And it's just kind of the nature of when you get these elite receivers and they just kind of keep playing contract leapfrog. I don't know that he's going to get the $110 million guaranteed that Justin got, because that's just, the Bengals don't like to put a lot of guaranteed money in their contracts. But I think they'll offset that by moving him ahead of Justin, and he can have the bragging rights to say he's the highest paid guy in the league. Justin Jefferson's getting $35 million a year. Wouldn't surprise me to see the Bengals go a tad over that, 36, 37, and just not have that contract packed as much with guaranteed money. I don't think it happens this offseason. I think we're talking about next spring or possibly even next training camp before they get something done.
Now, there were some changes to the Bengals skill position. Tyler Boyd is gone as the number 3. First off, what's the thought there? Who replaces Tyler Boyd?
Yeah, it's wide open. I mean, they drafted Charlie Jones last year to kind of be that heir apparent in the slot. He didn't see a lot of action on offense, and he broke his thumb in week 3 and missed 6 or 7 weeks. So just kind of had his season derailed. He's in the mix for that. They went out and they signed Mike Gesicki, the tight end, who primarily plays as a slot receiver. 50% of his snaps last year with New England were in the slot. I think we're going to see that a lot this year. And then Jermaine Burton, the rookie from Alabama, they drafted in the 3rd round. I think we could see him in the slot a lot. And the guy we just talked about, Jamar Chase. I really think we're going to see this team move into they've done it a little bit in the past, but they are going to move Jamar all over the place this year and try to make it really hard on the defense to figure out where he's at and adjust. And that's going to just open things up for the other people. So maybe no one gets more than 50% of the slot snaps. It could be just a mix of all 4 of those guys I just mentioned.
And I got to be honest, Jay, it's going to be weird not seeing Joe Mixon in the backfield for Cincinnati. Yeah. We're going to have to deal with him twice now in Houston with the Jaguars. What's the thought of the tailback position replacing Joe Mixon there in Cincinnati?
Yeah, so they drafted Chase Brown in the 5th round last year. Really liked him a lot, but just like Charlie Jones, just as they were starting to work him in some more, he had a hamstring injury, missed 6 weeks. So he looked great when he came back. It was kind of him and Jake Browning really connecting on a lot of those screen passes and providing some explosiveness out of the backfield. And then they signed Zach Moss from the AFC South. He was with the Colts last year. And so it's going to be a tandem. It's going to be a 2-headed monster in that backfield. If I had to guess, I'd say Zach Moss will probably get 60% of the share and Chase Brown 40, but nobody really knows which way it's going to go. And it could be week to week to see who's got the hot hand and how they're going to ride it. But that's the one thing they wanted to get more explosiveness out of that running back position. Joe Mixon never fumbled. He was tough in short yardage, but he didn't turn the 5-yard gains into 10, 12, 15. And they think they've got that now with Moss and with Chase Brown.
I haven't heard the name Chase Brown since that Monday night in December. That brought back horrible memories. I think he had an incredible game here, too, against the Jaguars, if memory serves. Defensively, Jay, Trey Hendrickson, I guess requested a trade, although honestly I haven't heard very much about that since. What is the thought about Hendrickson there in Cincinnati?
Yeah, it was just kind of a ploy. He can't get an extension anyhow until late July because he signed one last July. You got to wait a year before you sign another one. I think it was just more him and his agent wanting people to know that he's outplaying his contract and he's playing way above what he's making, and he's right. But the Bengals are never going to blink on that kind of thing. You know, Jesse Bates requested a trade. Jonah Williams requested a trade. T. Higgins requested a trade. None of them got it. Trey Hendrickson's not going to get it. He's back. He's been back for the voluntary portion of the offseason the last few weeks. He's going to suit up and play, and maybe next year he'll take another run at a contract extension. But I think he's going to play this year on his current deal.
Final moments, Jay Morrison, Pro Football Network. Jay, as far as the defense as a whole, your thoughts coming in? We talk about Hendrickson, but what about the other parts of that defensive unit? How are they looking?
Yeah, hard to get a real gauge in OTAs because there's no real contact. All we've seen them do is 7-on-7 anyhow. But Miles Murphy, the first-round pick last year out of Clemson, really started coming on toward the end of the year. So he's going to be pushing Sam Hubbard for some time at that edge spot opposite of Trey Hendrickson. The big question is the secondary. And as I mentioned, they went out and got Von Bell back, and they bring in Geno Stone. Last year's best rookie was Jordan Battle, who was a third-rounder. He took over as the starter in Week 10, was really playing well, and now maybe he has to take a back seat to Von Bell. And then at cornerback, last year's one of the big reasons the defense struggled was Dax Hill's first year as a starter at safety just did not work out. They're moving him to corner, and he's a first-round pick from Michigan. DJ Turner's a second-round pick from Michigan, and those two are going to be battling it out for that starting job opposite Cam Taylor-Britt. So they have a lot of high-round draft picks invested in that secondary and a lot of free agency money. They've got to get it right this year. They cannot be giving up all the explosives like they did last year and hope to be back in the mix to win this division and go deep in the playoffs.
Jay, as we begin to wrap up, the division's crazy, right? I mean, it's probably the toughest division in football with Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and, of course, you guys there in Cincinnati. What's your thought on where the Bengals are in the hierarchy of this division?
You know, I'd say maybe a touch behind Baltimore at this point, but it's really anybody's division. I mean, if Russell Wilson comes in and plays well for Pittsburgh, or even if he doesn't, Justin Fields steps in, that's a really good defense. That's a team that you could see making some noise. I think Cleveland might have the best roster in the division. It's just the big question mark at quarterback. Is Deshaun Watson ever going to get back to his old ways? If he does, look out for the Browns. And we know what the Ravens are. We know what the Bengals are. I mean, but last year was the first time since 1935 a division had every team finish above 500. It could happen again this year. I mean, you're right. It's probably the toughest division in football, and it's stacked.
Quickly, you cover the Bengals as well as anybody, man. Brian Callahan, you mentioned him earlier. He now comes to the Tennessee Titans. Your thoughts on Callahan as a head coach and what he'll bring to Nashville?
Yeah, great fit. He's kind of a similar, I don't want to say clone, but he's very similar to Zach Taylor in that values everybody's opinion and makes everybody feel a part of the process. We saw what he did with Jake Browning. That's what he's going to need to do. Will Levis isn't really a proven quarterback, and if he can get that part of that organization right, I think they'll be competitive in short order. I don't know if it's going to happen right away, but he's just a really great fit, and I don't think he got the credit he deserved because he wasn't a play calling offensive coordinator here in Cincinnati, but he was a big part of everything they did and a big part of Joe Burrow's development. If he can develop Will Levis, like I said, then look out. The Titans could be right back in the mix in short order.
And we'll see what happens with Callahan there in Nashville. Jay Morrison, Pro Football Network. Jay, we know a lot of folks from the state of Ohio have moved down here to Northeast Florida. For people that want to follow your Bengals coverage, I know Pro Football Network is where to go, but you also have a couple of podcasts as well.
Yeah, I have the PFN Bengals podcast with Dallas Robinson, and that's on all the podcast platforms as well as on YouTube. And then my old partner at The Athletic, Paul Daner Jr., and I have reunited for a podcast called The Growler. Our episode is PD and J, and that is the same thing on all the platforms on YouTube. Both of those usually drop on Tuesday or Wednesday each week.
PD and J, that is an absolutely fantastic name for a podcast. Absolutely. One of our favorites, Jay Morrison of Pro Football Network. Jay, I know you're busy with minicamp coming up this week. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll do it again soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Good talking to you, Ryan.
Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to Jay Morrison of Pro Football Network as we kick off our AFC North preview this week. We will make stops later on this week in Baltimore, in Cleveland, and in Pittsburgh. Tonight it was all about Cincinnati and the return of Joe Burrow there for the Cincinnati Bengals. My big takeaway from the evening here on Hacker After Dark, well, it's minicamp, right? And even though a lot of veterans were not here, they were excused for having great attendance during OTAs and having a great offseason program. Still a lot of competitive juices out there, man. 60-plus Jaguars took part in minicamp today. A lot of good teaching going on. Really enjoyed it. I've seen some minicamp practices that were not near as spirited as the one today. So from that aspect, I was very happy. What I saw, they're back down there tomorrow and Wednesday, and that will officially be it for the offseason. They will take a 5-week break, and then they will return at the end of July for training camp. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Monday night edition here of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. As I said, Jay Morrison, Pro Football Network, covering the Cincinnati Bengals. Jay's our guy up in Cincinnati. Big year for the Bengals, the return of Joe Burrow. T. Higgins, will he get a new contract? Will Jamar Chase get a new contract? That division is absolutely brutal as well. Where does Cincinnati factor in when you consider Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh? So we appreciate Jay taking time out for us this evening to kick off our AFC North preview this week. Thank you to Nick De La Torre, Gators Online, and On 3. He was up in Clemson yesterday. He was actually driving back from Clemson when I spoke with him. What a ball game. College baseball, man, I have never in my life watched 5 hours of college baseball. I did yesterday, and it was enthralling. It was unbelievable. Absolutely terrific stuff for Florida and Clemson. Florida comes out on top. They advance to Omaha to another College World Series. We'll certainly preview that later in the week, but thank Nick De La Torre for joining us tonight from Gators Online. Also, thank my buddy Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com for talking Jaguars minicamp with us. Always enjoy getting Brian here on Hacker After Dark. And speaking of the Jaguars, thank you to Jaguar linebacker Ventrell Miller for joining us tonight. And I think a special thank you to the Jaguars PR team for hooking that up for us here on Hacker After Dark. I'm a big fan of Ventrell Miller. There's no doubt about that. I'm rooting for him coming back from that injury, and he's looked very, very good out there this offseason. So thank you to Ventrell Miller for spending some time with us here this evening. We will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Tuesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Above Gotham looms its greatest hero. We're not a superhero. We're the Superstation.
Who are you? Oh, sorry.
1010XL.
The bat signal is not a beeper.
92.5 FM.
I just like the sound of it.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone